Good evening, good morning, one and all. I welcome all of you to another very interesting session of ICDA. And as you all know, we'd like to take a moment to recognize our founder of ICDA, late Shri N. Gopakumar, whose vision has brought us together, the artists, not only us, but the artists across the globe, and to share their experience of art together. Formed during the onset of the pandemic, ICDA network is now approximately 2,000 members strong on WhatsApp, besides handling a 10K on its social media handles. The team hosts lectures and coffee chats with eminent gurus, giving global audience a chance to interact and learn. And in this series, I'd like to take the pleasure of welcoming two very, very important key personalities, Dr. Sasirekha and Dr. Anjana Anand. And here is a brief description about them, introducing them to all of you. Of course, Dr. Sasirekha doesn't need much of an introduction because she has already done the Art of Natvangam presentation to all of us, but still, it's a pleasure. So, ma'am, welcome, ma'am. Dr. Sasirekha heads Kanaga Sabai School of Bharatanatyam in Mylapore. She's learned the art form from leading proponents of Tanjai style of Bharatanatyam, Tanjai Arunachalam Pillai and Srimati Jayalakshmi Arunachalam from the age of 4 and had her Arangetram at 8. Her thirst for learning has led her to cities leading lights of Bharatanatyam, including Dr. Chitra Vishweshwaran and many other stalwarts in the field of Natvangam as well. Her choreographic works include Tennanudaya Shivane Potri, Aranganum Alvargalum, in the eyes of Andal, and Sivanudan Urnal, Bharati Kanda Bharatam. Now, moving on to introducing Dr. Anjana, I'm actually cutting short on the very elaborate introduction so that we give the speakers enough time. So, Dr. Anjana is a performing artist whose interest lies in research and teaching. An alumna of Kalakshetra Foundation, she is a founder member of Sahridaya Foundation in Chennai. Anjana holds a PhD in Bharatanatyam and has authored a book on dance grammar based on the epic Silapadigaram. Welcoming Sasirekha ma'am and Anjana ma'am, and over to you for further discussions. Thank you.
Namaskaram. Thank you, Lavanya. Can you please enable screen sharing?
Sure, ma'am. Sorry about this. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, 1 minute.
If any of you are able to keep your videos on, that would be nice so that we can also interact with you. Thank you.
So, born and brought up in Mylapore, thanks to my parents and grandparents, I got to watch many performances in Rasika Ranjani Sabha. So, whenever I went for a Bharatanatyam performance, I was attracted to the person wielding the cymbals, the Natvanar. So I have seen fond memories of Vaduvur Ramaya Pillai, Kitappa Pillai, Tanjai Arunachalam Pillai, Dandayadapani Pillai. They all had a fan following, in fact. They used to sing beautifully in a very majestic tone and also wield the cymbals. And so from my childhood, I have been attracted, and this also led me to do my research on the essence of Nattavangam in Bharatanatyam under the guidance of Dr. S. Raghuraman in Bharatiya University. So, Anju, I think she will be the best person because she is a Kalakshetra alumni and a disciple of Kamala Rani teacher to give a small introduction about teacher.
Sure. Namaskaram. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Srimati Kamala Rani. If we were interacting in person, perhaps we would see if any of you had heard of her. And if you have not heard of her, I wouldn't be very surprised because unless you have been in Kalakshetra, because Kamala Rani teacher's life revolved completely around Kalakshetra and inside Kalakshetra, very few people outside the artistic world know her, especially those outside the Kalakshetra campus. But she strove to spread her art beyond the small little space that she lived in, and that is why we want to talk to her about her today. Srimati Kamala Rani was studied her music. Basically, her training was in music in Annamalai University. She studied in Chidambaram and then also at the Teachers College in Chennai. Now, when she was about 15 years old, she came to Kalakshetra, and we believe it is because the principal. Yes, Shashi, anything?
Let me put the slides.
Yes, okay, sure. Then it will help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you can see, she was born in Sri Lanka, but basically because she settled in Chennai, she was very much part of this part of India, and she received a vocal scholarship and she joined Kalakshetra at the age of 15. So we believe that she came because Tiger Varadacharya was the principal at that point, and he must have taken her to introduce her to Srimati Rukmani Devi Arundel, whom I'm sure most of you are familiar with, the founder of Kalakshetra, who was able to attract so many great personalities to Kalakshetra. And one of them was this young Kamala Rani who came at 15. And Rukmani Devi Arundel said, "You finished your music, come join us." Kalakshetra was just growing, was just starting music and dance, and it was a very thriving environment. And something must have attracted Kamala Rani because she came at 15 and then she left at about 75 years. She was in Kalakshetra all the time, completely devoted.
It was
Completely devoted.
Indira who nudged Kamala Rani to complete her teacher's certificate examination conducted by the Music Academy in 1944.
Right. So, right, now we're in an age where we are constantly looking at certificates and, paper qualifications, right? But I think Rukmini Devi Arundel, somewhere in the mind, she knew that somewhere this is where the world was heading. And she said it was important that she get that paper. And what is interesting for us is that she was a beautifully trained Carnatic musician. And what happened was she not only sang in Kalakshetra, she became part of all the choreographic works. As you can see in this photo, there is Kamala Rani teacher there sitting on the left next to a young boy who's D. Pashupati, also a musician from Kalakshetra. There is Rukmini Devi in the center there teaching one of her students. And it was a beautiful atmosphere because while the choreographer
đã lồng cú thắt cà đến khi nó trồng trồng tất trồng đã là trồng nụ đến nhiệt tất kỳ tất ta đã lất tờ trồng tờ đến nhiệt tất kỳ tất trồng đã là trồng nụ đến nhiệt tất kỳ tất ta đã lất tờ trồng tờ đến nhiệt tất kỳ tất trồng ta ri tất trồng ta ri đã là tất trồng ta ri đã là trồng nụ đến nhiệt tất kỳ tất ta ri đã Dana dana jogi, jogi jogi digi, dili dili kita, tari dana jogi, dili dili tek kerja tari kong, tari dana dana jogi, jogi jogi digi, dili dili kita, tari dana jogi, dili dili tek kerja tari kong, tari dana dana jogi, jogi jogi digi, dili dili kita, tari dana jogi, dili dili tek kerja tari kong,
So while she never actually learned dance, she was in the atmosphere so much that everything was visual for her. Her music became very visual, and because she was part of the choreography, she knew exactly the nuances of how the movement and the music would go together, which is a very important thing for her later life as a Nattuvanar. Here we have a photo of an elderly Rukmini Devi Arundel sitting, teaching the Padam Manchi Dinamu. And we see a lot of famous artists whom you all will be familiar with. Shanta Dhananjayan, you might not recognize them because they are much, much younger in the photo. So we have Shanta Dhananjayan there, Srimati Ambika Butch, Viji teacher known as Vijay Lakshmi, Kala Ramesh Rao, and the two girls standing at the back, we were told later, are Gayatri and Maithili, and they were younger students, it seems, not part of the Padam group. But when somebody came to take a photograph in those days, it was a big thing. So they said, come, join and act like you're listening because we're going to take a photograph. And on the other side, we see Kamala Rani teacher, and with the polka dot sari, a famous dancer called Shankari Shankaran. Should we move to the next slide, Shashi? Yes. So this is a photo with Srimati Ambika Butch in the dance costume. She's a retired professor from Kalakshetra, and Karyakudi Krishnamurthy sir is the young handsome man there who is a famous mridangist and also composed many of the jatis for Kalakshetra and for dancers outside. Here we have Kamala Rani teacher and Janardhanan sir at Kalakshetra's famed dance drama Karna Shabadam. This is in, maybe she must have been in her late 60s by then.
Yeah.
Shashi, we can't hear you when I'm talking, so just raise your hand and then I'll stop. Yeah, now you can say. Yeah.
Yeah. This photograph is so precious. They said Kamla Rani teacher memorized the entire dance drama. She will not look at the book for any reference. In fact, almost all the dance dramas, if they have any doubts, they will go to Kamla Rani teacher because she will know the jatis, the swara, phrases, and the choreography.
Yes.
Here a beautiful rendition of Kamla Rani teacher. Small.
So as you can see, the voice quality, of course, a very old recording, but even there's a gambiram to her voice, the depth, which very few female musicians had. So it was perfect for not only the dance dramas, but also later for her journey into Natuvangam. So here we see her with many stalwarts, Chinna Sharada teacher, Sharada Hoffman in the left. In the center, the famous one, can you just go back 1 second? Sanjukta Panigrahi, Krishnaveli Lakshmanan. And then her daughter is on the right hand side, and they're traveling to many countries. Next one. Another tour with Atte, Srimati Rukmini Devi Arundale was affectionately called Atte by everyone. So you here see them on the China tour and Europe.
Yeah, and you can see young CBC sir next to Kamla Rani teacher in the right side photo. And on the left side, we have young Balagopal sir. Yeah. Kamla Rani teacher, as she toured the world, she got lot of opportunities to come and do workshops there. So she frequented Europe and many other countries, and one of her disciple, Nuria Sala from Italy. She is very important. Anju will elaborate upon that. And here you see that she not only taught people in Kalakshetra, but also others. And here we have Srinidhi Rangarajan with Anandi Ramachandran, Shankaramenam, Semangudi Srinivasa Iyer and Kamla Rani. This photograph, they say Srinidhi came on Vijayadashmi to pay respects to Kamla Rani teacher for helping her with the Natuvangam lessons.
You can probably introduce Sri R.V. Gopal also, Shashi.
Sri R.V. Gopal, he came up with the idea of, documenting the entire jatis. In fact, it was Kamla Rani teacher was inspired by the various Natuvanaars in Kalakshetra. As we all know, it was Pandaninallur Tata and then Chokkalingam Pillai, Nandayadapani Pillai, and in fact, even my masters, Tanjai Arunachalam Pillais, Atte, Sharadammal, so many Natuvanaars, Mailapur, Gauriammal, were all part of Kalakshetra. Listening to their jatis, and the young musician also had a penchant for this beautiful jati renditions. And R.V. Gopal sir came up with this idea of documenting jatis, and he brought out books. In fact, it was 100 jatis in Adithalam and 100 jatis in Rupakathalam in the 1980s. Teachers, disciples Chamundeshwari, Annapurna, Nitya Kalyani Vaidyanathan helped with the material for original publication. And how did they commit to that? They were all students of Kalanidhi Mummy's Abhinaya Sudha, and where Kamalarani teacher was invited to teach them Nattu.
Now, we come to one Mridangayati. This is like the instrument Mridangam. Both the sides are small, in between it is big. The Sholukatas are Didite, Te, Didite, Didite, or Ginatum, Tadi, Ginatum, Ginatum, or Targutum, Kirta, Targutum, Targutum. One Mridangayati.
This building block helped so many dancers to understand the yati patterns and all. That was the volume essence of Nattuanga. And here we have a small video bite from teacher student Nuria Sala from Italy.
Good evening. Nuria Sala speaking from Milan, from Italy. I am so happy that you organized the tribute to Simati Kamalarani. Thank you, Shashi and Anjana, for organizing this day in honor of Simati Kamalarani, remembering her work as a Nattuvanark and her effort in combining and writing the book Essence of Natuvanga. And composing so many jatis and tirmanas. I met Kamala in 95. It was my Guruji of dance, Krishnaveni Lakshmanan, who decided to take me to Kamala's house to live and study. Kamala chose the day and the time to go to her house, and Krishnaveni and I went there. And at the moment we discover, because Kamala asked me, when are you born? And at the moment we discovered that Krishnaveni and I were born on the same day, the 20th of June, certainly in different years. This seemed like a good sign to her, and she immediately let me in. The first Natuvana lesson were very intense. He's playing tabla for more than 40 years, and he knows Murdangam and Carnatic music. At the evening we spent time sitting both of three and practicing a lot, and we had a lot of fun, and we also learned a lot of things together.
Thanks to Nuria.
So, yeah. So basically, you must be wondering before we go into this, we were talking only about her music background. So where did this Nattuangam come from, right? So she was trained as a musician, and once it is believed that, of course, Kalakshetra had traditional Nattuvanars working. Rukmini Devi, I said, attracted many people. So very famous Nattuvanars like Dandayodapani Pillai, then Muthukumara Pillai, Chokkalingam Pillai, they all came to Kalakshetra to work with her. And it was the Nattuvanars used to rule that arena. Nobody else used to be professional Nattuvangas. So once when they were going for a foreign tour, not foreign tour, within India they were going to perform somewhere, one of the Nattuvanars backed out for whatever reason and could not come. So they needed an Nattuvanar suddenly. On the train journey, Rukmini Devi turned to Kamalarani teacher and said, you have been part of all the dance and choreography now. Now you can also recite jatis. Learn the jatis, you've heard it enough, let's practice on the train. So she actually practiced holding the talam, and they managed the performance. After that, Srimati Rukmini Devi decided that she will want to train her own dancers, that they should be self-sufficient. And she was a stalwart, she was a trailblazer because she broke that little community of Nattuvanars who did, and allowed many people to learn Nattuangam, so that people were self-sufficient and could do Nattuangam for their own students. And Kamalarani teacher therefore became the first woman Nattuvanar in those times to graduate from Kalakshetra, and she was ruling the stage for 3 decades, singing and doing Nattuangam, learning on the job. Now the interesting thing is, she could have just performed like this and continued, but she decided she wanted to create a methodology of teaching Nattuangam so she could share it to the rest of the dancers. Most of us would be happy to perform, be on stage and go home. She wanted something more. And in those days, she formulated a syllabus for Natwangam, which is what I learned later in the 90s when I joined Kalakshetra. And the three books that Shashi spoke about earlier was an attempt to publish, also self-publish. Also something very new in those times, to publish your own book, and a woman going out and doing this on her own, out of her own initiative. Unfortunately, I think Shashi, they were not able to record. They tried recording also in those days, it was more difficult. They started recording. Go ahead, Shashi.
On the right side, there's a photograph of
Can't
Noor.
hear you, Shashi. Can you speak louder?
Yeah, on the right side, you see Nuria's husband Federico. Thanks to him, that we are able to hear her voice. They wanted to record the entire three-volume of books, but they had just started. They couldn't finish.
Yeah. So she had a lot of students from abroad. I remember even when I was studying in the 90s, many Italian students, Russian students used to come and go. So even though she was not well known outside Kalakshetra, still individual dancers outside like Srinidhi Chidambaram, Bragha Bessel, used to go, Nitya Kalyani Vaidyanathan, they used to come, learn with her and go. It's just that she just never, in the age of internet, she would have been very, very, very popular and famous. Unfortunately, she didn't receive the recognition that she should have in her lifetime. So here you see Tamil Nadu governor. The first award that she got was given by the Dhananjayans after they left Kalakshetra and she left, the Sangeetagnya by Bharata Kalanjali, 1978. So this is one of the reviews which was written, where in the dance drama, and I heard in Andal especially, she was everybody, not only that, her pronunciation, the way she sang, she got special mention for that in a review about dance. So you can imagine how much you would have captured their imagination. Next, Shashi.
Yeah. So this is
Yeah.
again, it says she was molded in Kalakshetra, and her every bit was of Attai, thankful to Attai for all that.
This is a
And this,
picture of Shanta Dhananjayan, a very nice one on the cover of the Kalakshetra journal.
and you have to introduce.
Yeah, so this is Kamala Rani teacher's granddaughter, who was my classmate in Kalakshetra. And actually, at that time, Natuangam was not part of the Kalakshetra study. Maybe she was just formulating the methodology. So she wanted to teach it, and her granddaughter at that time, you know how granddaughters usually take their grandmothers for granted. So she was, used to dilly dally going to class. So I was pulled in so that, because she was my best friend in college. So both of us had to sit and learn Natuangam at that time. So now Padmini lives in the US, in the West Coast. She has something to say to all of you.
நமஸ்காரம். இங்கே என்னோட அம்மா பாட்டியோட தீர்மானம் எல்லாம் இபுக்காக ரிலீஸ் பண்ணுற ஃபங்க்ஷனுக்கு நீங்கள்லாம் வந்ததில் எனக்கு ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். என்னோட அம்மா பாட்டி உங்கள் எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியும், சிங்கர், மியூசிஷியன், நடுவனார். ஆனால் டு மீ ஷீ இஸ் அம்மா பாட்டி, த மோஸ்ட் அஃபெக்ஷனேட் லவ்விங் பாட்டி. நான் என்ன கேட்டாலும் எனக்குமே நோன்னு சொன்னது கிடையாது. And some of my earliest memories are holding her hands and walking in Kalakshetra. And even during that time, I remember she would always be humming a song. இல்லைனா என்னோட கையை பிடிச்சிருக்கிற அந்த கையில் ஏதாவது தாளம் போட்டுட்டே இருப்பாங்க. ஸோ அந்த பாட்டு, அந்த லயம், constantly a part of her life. But more than that, she was a very warm-hearted, kind human being. She was a wonderful storyteller. சின்ன வயசுலேருந்து எனக்கு எத்தனையோ கதையெல்லாம் சொல்லியிருக்கா. Not just நம்ம Indian mythology and folk tales, but also life stories. The first time she boarded an airplane, the first time she saw snow. She had a wonderful way with words, and she could paint the picture in front of your eyes of what she had seen and experienced. And எங்கே போனாலும் ஏதாவது புதுசாக கற்றுண்டு அது ஆற்றுல வந்து she would cook it. She loved cooking. ரொம்ப ஒரு ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல் நேச்சர். யார் வீட்டில் என்ன ஒரு ஃபங்க்ஷன், ஒரு ஃபெஸ்டிவல்னாலும் she was the first to offer her help. And in times of need, she was the first to offer support. She loved her students. More than any other role, I think the role of the teacher is what she took to heart. And that was the role she enjoyed the most. And she was also a pioneer in many ways. ஏதாவது புதுசாக இருந்ததுன்னா அதை உடனே எடுத்து ட்ரை பண்ணணும், அது என்னன்னு பார்க்கணும் அப்படின்னு ரொம்ப ஒரு இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் அண்ட் இன்வால்மெண்ட் இருந்தது. ஸோ இன்னைக்கு என்னோட பாட்டி இருந்திருந்ததா இந்த இபுக் அண்ட் திஸ் ஆன்லைன் மீடியா அதையும் ரொம்ப ஒரு எந்தூசியாசமோடு she would have embraced it. And இன்னையோட ஃபங்க்ஷனில் she would have been front and center, and I know that for sure. So I think wherever she is right now, I'm sure she's looking down and feeling incredibly happy to see that her work now has a bigger platform. So Adhika and Anjana and Sasirekha, I want to extend my thanks for taking on this project. And இன்னைக்கு நீங்க எல்லாரும் இங்க வந்திருக்கீங்க. I want to thank every single one of you for celebrating her art, her legacy, and for celebrating her. Thank you.
I just want to add that also Kamalarani teacher is famous for her writing towards end. She wrote many short stories and under a pen name, and she used to contribute to journals and magazines as well. So some more photographs of her famous days. Shankar Menon.
She authored the book Kalayarasi Rukmani Devi Kanda Kalaikovil, that is about the Kalakshetra, and it was released in the presence of the then minister, Nedunjozhiyan. You will also see T.T. Vasu and Shankar Menon. And on the right side, Dominic Devrom. He also learnt at home from the book. And this photograph is at Rashtrapati Bhavan just before leaving to the festival of USSR. He is with the President, Venkatraman. Anjana, you should talk about this.
Yeah.
The famous banyan tree of Kalakshetra.
Yes, so this is the famous banyan tree which if you go to Kalakshetra today, it's still there. We have all the young and elderly teachers. There is also actress Suganya there in the center. She studied in Kalakshetra. Some of you, if you are part of Kalakshetra, have been there, will recognize them. I don't want to read them by name. Jaya teacher standing next to Suganya is probably the most elderly teacher who still comes and attends functions here in Chennai. Yeah. Next. Okay.
This is also from the function. And on the right side, you will see the Umar Natavanar who made a name from the traditional Devadasi family, that is Indira Rajan, and Kamalarani teacher who was the first woman Natavanar from an institution.
The next one is
And this photograph, Kamalarani teacher is teaching Bhagavatalu Sitarama Sharma all the music of the dance dramas. Both Anjana and myself are disciples of Bhagavatalu Sitarama Sharma, and this is a precious photograph, but we couldn't get the proper photograph, and we wanted to share this, what will we do. And Kamalarani teacher attended all the performances of the Kalakshetrites. Anjana, over to you. Anjana?
Yes, sorry, it got cut in between, so I couldn't hear. Can I? Yeah, this one. Okay, so this, when we decided to do this ebook, we'll tell you a little bit about what the ebook is about. Shashi had met many of the elderly teachers who are around to get their blessings. We have Janardhanan sir in the center. On the right, C.V. Chandrasekhar sir and Jaya auntie, who all gave their blessings for this book. And with Shashi is her very, very talented son, Vignesh Raammohan. You will hear his voice in the recitation of Jatis because Vignesh plays mridangam, sings music, and is also Bharatanatyam dancer. So both Sasirekha and her son Vignesh have recorded the 200 Jatis audio that you will be hearing next.
I'm here to talk about my experience working on Kamalarani Teachers project, as my mom had invited me to join during COVID isolation. I had known about Teachers Jatis for quite a while, as some of it was incorporated by my mom in her dance productions and choreography. When she showed me the old book with brittle pages, I got to know that there was more where that came from. I got to know that there were 100 jatis based on Aditala and 100 more in Rupakatala. I was intrigued and excited to know that these jatis are being revived by my mother and Anjana auntie, and I was excited to be a part of it, as I'm also a passionate mridangist and a Bharatanatyam dancer. The whole process started with deciphering the notations of teacher, as it was a bit difficult for us to understand how it was structured. And once it had all been deciphered with the efforts of my mom and Anjana auntie, we moved on to the recording process. The whole recording process was fun, as me and my mom took turns alternating the jatis, as we thought it would be more fun. The whole recording process took about 3 weeks to produce. The first 2 weeks being Aditala, and then the third week being Rupakatala. I worked on this project during a time where I was waiting to go back to Australia. I'm here to talk about
So we were very thankful to remember you heard Nuria, the Italian student, speaking earlier. She's the only person who had all the voice recordings of teacher taken sometimes at her home. So she sent us this small clipping. We thought it was very poignant that she said this. She's sending a message out to young students. So we'll just play you her voice, and then after this we'll just talk to you very briefly about the book and tell you what the book is about. So you can play it. Shashi.
I want to say a few words to all the youngsters. I have been in this line for the past 52 years, and I have heard the best Natvangam, the best music for dance from the time Rukmini Devi was dancing, and I am in Kalakshitra for the past 52 years. So my only advice and suggestion for young people who perform and who makes their own compositions and things like that, to be very careful when they compose Tirmanams. It must be in one jati, one family. For example, when you say Tari Tadana Dana Dana Tajudu Judu Judu Tadivi Divi Divi Takita Taka, in between you can't bring Jam Tarita Jaga Tarita or Di Nutata Divita Hatajam. No, you are not allowed to. It is one of the traditions which our old Natunas and people were following, and it doesn't sound very nice also when you mix up all the jatis, there are different kinds of tirmanams in one tirmanam. It doesn't sound nice, and this is my first attempt to bring out a few cassettes in Bharatanatyam, trying to help the dancers and all the young people, everybody. So I think I'll be able to give you more in my next cassette with different types of cholukatus and different types of carve, gaps in between. And now I want to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you very much. Now.
So this was taken just before they had just started recording material when she passed away. So the written books were printed, and we'll tell you, Shashi, you want to just tell about how this project came about?
During COVID,
Kekale, Shashi.
during the lockdown, myself and Anjana, we started working on the jatis. As my son said, the pages were brittle, and we were trying to decipher it. She is a direct student of teacher, yet her she had written all the jatis in her notebook. So we were trying, and we reached out to her granddaughter, teacher's granddaughter to decipher the jatis. And that is when I included my son so that we could put all the jatis in a particular common notation where any mridangist or a vocalist or a dancer or a student of dance, anybody could read it, you know. Because we are, as dancers, we are so used to writing our own notation in our books. And you know, அது நம்மளுக்கு மாத்திரம் தான் புரியும் இன்னொருத்தருக்கு புரியாது. So if it is under a common notation, you know, we have followed the Carnatic music format. Anjana, shall we, is Lavanya
Yes.
going to, Janardhan sir, or Dhananjay sir, or shall we go on to the book?
We'll just go on to the.
Okay. So this is the 3D image of the ebook.
So basically, in this PDF, you will find all the 200 jatis notated in Tamil and English. That we were very particular because we also didn't want to keep it only for the English educated audience. So many people deep south and otherwise would love to read in Tamil. So it is a great way of preserving language. So that Tamil was thanks to Shashi. I did the English notation, Shashi did the Tamil notation. This is just rough, giving you a rough idea about the book forward. You can go on one by one.
Yeah, we have to thank Jayanti Subramaniam and Nityakalani Vagunathan. Jayanti Akka painstakingly took on, supervised and proofread our Jati notations. Anjali, you want to talk about the purpose of the book?
Just
Or we-
see the purpose of why we decided to do this book. See, Shashi has done a PhD in Nattuangam. I've always been interested in Nattuanga, and we are both, both teachers and performers. So we have seen a range of Solukattus for the past 3 decades, and we've seen how Solukattus have changed over time. So Solukattus, which were meant only for Bharatanatyam, slowly has changed with more Mridangam solis being introduced or more other percussion instruments. So that old musicality in the jatis, the traditional jatis, is something we don't see very often now. Not that what is being done now is not good enough, it's just that it is very different. So it's very important that we preserve what is there before. And in
and
this,
And also nowadays we see 1 minute, 2 minute long jatis. All Kamlarani teachers are very crisp, like how the Natavanars used to recite. But in this book, you'll see the 100 jatis are not from the same composition. It is from different compositions, different dance dramas, in different kala pramanams. But for understanding, we have all recorded in one bytes per second, so that students of dance can also learn it very easily by
we have
listening to it.
also we have also chosen the jatis because of the different sounds of the solikatas that you'll hear. To dhinnam dhimikita tahatta tom tom. These are ones that we don't generally hear. Dhinitata dhimita, and the musicality of it. So this is what we have attempted to capture. And then we said, okay, some people may not know how to read notation. It's better that we have an audio recording. So if you can't read notation, you can refer to the audio and you can write down the jatis and use them. So basically, ideas for you all to use the jatis. And the family also agreed to that. They just want credit to be given to Kamran teacher, and you will find it extremely useful in all your compositions, because both me and Shashi and I, we keep getting new Varnam compositions for our children. And then we don't have jatis, then we have to go to a mridangist, and then sometimes it's not the way we really want it. So these jatis are a treasure house because you can just pick and choose what you like, and depend on the kala pramanam of your compositions. We have given clear notation in Tamilukkum Englishukum.
For understanding the notation, Bharatanatyam is an art form of Tamil Nadu. So obviously, all these Natuvangam solis have its roots in the Tamil words. A, E, U, A, O are all of one matra, and A, E, U, I, A, O, Au are all the long vowels. The male, the ik, ich, inch, it doesn't have any value. Usually it has a value of half, but in dance or whatever, we do not know that. So, taddinginnatum, if you see one short vowel, short consonant, and this value is 0. So, taddinginnatum is 5 matra. If there is a comma, then the value is 1, denoted as 1. So we can write the long consonant as tha with a kal, and in English you will see a small line above the letter A for a long sound, or it can be a tha followed by a comma, which means two matras. And if it is underlined, it means it is in male column, like kidatakatarikidatum.
Okay.
And
Next.
eBooks are also given for the yatis. And the yathila kuda, the eduppila kuda, whether it is lagula samama, dhridatla samama, first dhrida veecha, rendavathu dhrida veechana kudukapattu. The color codes, the first speed, Vilamba column, is given, is highlighted in blue, and the Madhyama in this peach, and the Duritam in green.
So basically, it'll be very easy for you to follow the notation, which speed it is, where the Tirmanam comes, adallam color code. We'll just give you an example of one. Can you just, this is the English notation. Okay, so this is the ritta dhana dhana da dhana ta jonu jonu te jonu. You can just follow as I read it. Jonu ta dimi dimi ta dimi ta kita ta ka te. Okay, so this is how it goes. Yes.
Finish the third and fourth line in Tamil.
Yeah, you finish it, Shashi.
You see, no problem.
Basically, this is the idea. So you will understand from the see on the red you have the ending. The ending will tell you that is the tirmana. Dhe ta ta dhe ta. Dhe ta ta dhe ta. And 3 times there. So whatever you see in red will be repeated thrice.
Yes. And as we said, Vilamba kalam, Madhyama kalam, and Dhurita kalam. Now, request Lavanya to share the dance for these jatis by various dances.
I think we can just show 2 examples, Shashi. It's already 7:20. So, 2 example kaatalam, just for them to get an idea. So, what we did was for the launch, we gave 1 jati to each school and said choreography the way you want to, either as a group or as a duet, so that you can understand this is not limited to any bani. You can take 1 jati and use it in your own style. So, we'll show 2 examples. It's just 1 minute each. Adukapra other questions and then kekalam. Which one should she play? Any randomly, Shashi? Lavanya kitta
Lavanya, it's up to you.
I can't hear you, Lavanya.
Sorry, I was talking on mute for quite a long time. I'm so sorry.
Put Uma or Lucrezia for solo.
She, the number of jati solanolia. Which number? I think number 5 is Uma.
Okay.
Jati number 5. Yes.
Okay, dance 5 is the...
Yes, dance 5. We are going to share one video with you of Uma Satyanarayan. Shashi, you're on mute.
You need to share your screen, right?
Yes, I'm sharing. Dance 5. Please let me know if you are able to see it, and I'll start playing.
Uma Satyanarayan. Next.
Yeah.
Should I pause?
Please carry on.
Ta dim ta dim ta 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 dim ta dim ta 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 di ta dana ta jonu ta dimi ta kita ta tari dana jonu dimi ta dimi kita ta jonu dimi kita ta kara ta jum ta tattodagadin tattin dillam takatodagadin tattin dillam tattari taddana tajonu taddimi ta ditta taddetta kitaka tari kitatu tattari taddana tajonu taddimi taddingina tu takadikku kitaka tari kitatu tattari taddana tajonu taddimi taddingina tu takadikku kitaka tari kitatu tattari taddana tajonu taddimi taddingina taka dikko kada taka tarigita dum.
I think on Zoom the issues there'll always be a lag, so you won't be able to really see it. So let's not play another example. This is just to give you an idea of the audio recording that you heard was Vignesh's. Everything will be in this Kala Pramanam. You can
I
learn it
can
easily.
share to Jagdish in the WhatsApp group of ICDA because
Yeah.
that will be better because there is lag when you sharing it in the Zoom.
And some people had asked, I think, how do we get the books? That also we will send you the information so that we don't waste time. We'll send you the link which you can click on and our email to get in touch with us. So if there's any questions from your end, anybody else, you can either put in the chat box or you can just ask us. Either way is fine.
So, Srimati Jyoti Jyotish has asked, and for which you have answered, ma'am, how do we get the books?
Yeah, how do we get the books? We will send it on your, we'll send it to you and you can probably post it on the groups. That will be easier.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Anything else, Lavanya, you feel that it needs clarification or the thing we can, if you.
So, ma'am, like it will be an audio book, right? Or audio ebook as well as audio of jatis, where the teachers or the students adopting those jatis are given the full spectrum of choreography depending on what they choose, correct?
Correct. So what they will receive in the ebook is, sorry, sir. What they will receive when you buy the ebook, you will get 4 files. You will get 2 PDFs, one in Rupagatala, one in Adi, both English and Tamil, and then you will get 100 zipped audio files of Adi Talam, 100 audio of Rupagatalam, which you can download and keep in your computer or your device.
Excellent. I would request all of you to please know your.
Also, we thought, I forgot to mention this. Sorry, I was just saying that we forgot to mention this, but this is not just about documenting one person's work because Kamalarani teaches been handed down a legacy of all the Natuanars whom she learnt under. So, what you are getting is not one person's jatis, it is like decades of work. So I really think it's really priceless, not because we did it. I think if anybody had done it, it's priceless because we are actually taking something from the past and it's something for us to carry on. So in that way, I feel that this is it belongs to the dancers community. So I really urge all of you to keep it because it's important how it's said, because when it's written, you don't know, in 30, 40 years, we won't know how it was said. So it will be really nice for you to pass it on to your students as well. You're right.
And also, anything profit that we get from the sale of the book is towards instituting a scholarship on Mathemangam. It will be on Kamalarani teacher's name. The only qualification is the student should know, have training both in music and dance, because that is what she is an icon for, right? Music is a very integral part of it.
That's awesome, ma'am. Friends, if you have any questions, I open the session for questions, and it would be good, to show your faces and ask questions. Please, it's a request.
Early morning, and thank you for joining.
Yeah, go ahead, ma'am. Jyoti Jyotish, ma'am, please show your face.
I'll just maybe answer a couple. Yes, somebody has a question, I think. Yes, go ahead.
First of all,
Please.
my apologies that I couldn't join in time. And kudos to Lavanya. You always come up with such wonderful sessions. It's not surprising anymore. Okay. And I would like to thank both of you all for having come up with such a wonderful concept of, presenting these invaluable, this is a treasure trove of jatis in both the ebook form and the audio file. And again, my apologies for not switching on my camera. I got thrown out of the meeting twice because of network issues. So please, I just want to thank you. And it's really heartening to see the kind of wholeheartedness with which people are these days sharing such kind of information. Thank you so much. It's a huge blessing. and a great treasure for all the upcoming artists and the present day generation. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you, Sri Jyoti.
You're
Some
most
of the
welcome.
frequently, since nobody has a question, just to answer a couple of the common questions we get is this only for performing artists? Is it for young students? It is for everybody. From the moment you can start doing a jati, if you have this idea of jatis and you can listen to this kind of jatis, it will expand your knowledge of what the range of cholukatis we have and the musicality. So it is for all levels. You can even take it and teach your beginner students. There are also jatis which you can take for your advanced students. Plus, you don't have to run around everywhere to get jatis. You'll have all these jatis in hand to use in your own dance drama choreographies. Shashi has used many of these in her own dance dramas. So you can use it depending, not even in a traditional margam, you can use it in thematic productions as well.
Anybody else has any questions? Cool, then, ma'am, I would be forwarding as soon as I receive from you whatever messages I have to forward. I'll forward in all the 8 groups, and we'll definitely keep in touch. And thank you so much for coming up with.
Thank you, Lavanya.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It's an
Thank
observation,
you for joining.
and thank you all for joining. Of
Now,
course, please don't think that it's a very small number that have attended the session. Like we have presence across the globe, and what we have recorded this session, and I'll be hosting it, and I'll be putting it on YouTube and sharing it across, and in Facebook too. So we will definitely good mileage there. Okay, Radhika, please go ahead. Yeah, definitely, she'll be giving us the
Sure.
details.
We'll give you all the information and just after we close the meeting. Thank you.
and Lavanya, since ICDA conducted this event, we thought we'll do a 5% discount for all those who buy within 10 days.
Thank you, ma'am. That's great. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Is there any
Thank
special code that we have to put for the? Okay.
we'll no special code. We will let you know on the details on the message that we send. I think somebody wants Arati wants to ask something.
சொல்லுங்க அன்மியூட் பண்ணிட்டு பேசுறேன்
கேக்கல.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
கேக்குறது. Yes.
Yeah. This is the first meeting I'm attending, ma'am. I'm not a member of this group actually. I got this link through my friend. I would like to join the group. So what should be done for that, ma'am?
Very simple, ma'am. We have 8 WhatsApp groups. All you have to do is
Okay.
put your phone number in the chat box. I can take it forward from there.
Sure, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for such a good information. You know, I have the books from Kamala Rani teacher. I would love to have this audio, visual, whatever you are going to provide us. And Lavanya has always bringing such a good thing. And then it's nice to meet Sasirekha ji and Anjana Anand. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's actually a pleasure and a learning opportunity for me, ma'am. That's why I keep following up, and Sasirekha ma'am is very close to heart. Every time I look at Prayatnam video, I look at that. Always look at that, look at how she's presenting. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
all. Thank you.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good night.
Good morning and good night, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.